Hello, my dear students. How are you? I wish that everything is okay with you, and I wish to see you soon, inshallah, in the classroom. Today, in this video, this is the second video, we are going to continue with passive. Now, in the first video, we talked about the passive, the difference between the passive sentences and the active sentences. And we also talked about how do we form the passive sentences by changing the active into passive. We talked about how do we change also the forms, the verbs. Now in this video, inshallah, we will apply, or we have an application for what we have said. Now here I have exercises. The first exercise, we have statements, sentences. Each sentence is talking about tense. I will answer them with you, and at the end of this video I will let you apply by yourself with some sentences. Now let's start with the first one, but before this, please, I wish if you bring your pens, notebooks, just to share me and to check whether you can answer or not. The first one, the lawyer will give some advice. Now, this is an active sentence. We have a future form, will give. The subject is the lawyer and the object is some advice. How do we change it? We put the object of the active sentence at the beginning to be the subject of the passive sentence, some advice. Now, the verb is will give. How do we change will give? We change it by using will be given, will be given by the lawyer. Okay, the second one. Sue asked the policeman for directions. I will give you time just to check whether you can answer it or not. Sue asked the policeman for directions. Okay, this is a past simple sentence. Then we will say the policeman. Okay, now the verb is asked. How do we change asked? Asked verb 2, we change it by using was were plus verb 3. Policeman is singular, so was asked for directions, and it's optional to add by Sue or not. The pirates had found the treasure. The pirates had found the treasure. Yeah, try. Yes, that. Treasure. This is a past perfect sentence. We change it by saying had. Then what? Found. Okay, let's answer another one with going to. Peter is going to take the package later. Try. Peter is going to take the package later. Yes, the object is the package. Okay, is going to. As we change the future form, is going to plus be plus verb 3 is going to be taken later. You can say by the pirates, or you can by Peter, sorry, or you it's optional to add it or not. The next one, someone has already stopped the machine. The machine, okay, has been stopped. Okay, think about the next 3 sentences. I will give you a chance just to answer them, because I have something to talk about here about the negative sentences. Some students will ask, so what we have to do if we have Negative sentences. How do we change the negative sentences from active into passive? I will tell you that we have to use the same way, but we have to add not with the helping verb. We didn't notice the new changes. How? We will say the new changes. Okay? Sorry. The new changes. Now, the new changes, didn't notice, is verb 2. How do we change verb 2? Was were plus verb 3. New changes plural. Were not. Okay. Noticed. Okay. Think about the second one. Okay. I will give you the chance. Think about it. The store won't deliver the furniture. This is a future. Okay, we have a negative sentence. So the furniture now won't deliver, we will change it into won't be plus verb 3. So won't be delivered. Okay, now take your time just to answer the next sentences because I will check them with you. Take your time. Don't forget that each sentence here we have a different rule. Don't forget to use the same form we talked about. Take your time, try to answer them, to check your answers with me. They haven't collected the taxes yet. The taxes haven't been collected yet. The next one, the students didn't. We answered the first one about past simple. Let's do the second, the fifth one. We don't accept credit cards here. So, credit card, yes. How? Don't accept present simple. Present simple is, are, am plus verb 3 is present, sorry, are not accepted here. The next one, it's about past continuous. Tim wasn't planting trees at 7. So trees, okay, weren't being planted at 7. Okay. You shouldn't, this is about the models, you shouldn't water this plant daily. This plant, the models, you will use the same model plus be plus verb 3. The plant should not be watered. As you see, it's very easy. We have the same form, but with negative. They are not interviewing the applicant, so they. Present continuous aren't being, sorry. It's easy. Okay, now let's continue with the next thing. We will talk about how do we change the questions from active into passive. Now, some students will ask, what also if we have questions? Yes, the same way. We will use the same way. Now I will do the first two for you. I will tell you how do we change them, and I will give you the chance to answer the following sentences with me. Now, if you notice, all of these questions are yes or no questions. How do we change them? We just use the helping verb at the beginning of the question to form the question. Now the first one is a past simple question. Did the driver hit the boy yesterday? The object is the boy, the subject is the driver, and the verb is did hit. We don't need the subject here. The boy is the object, but before that we have to say did hit is past simple was were plus verb 3. So was the boy and the verb 3 hit yesterday. And this is the way. It's easy. So what we have done now, we put the object of the subject sentence, we move it here in the middle, we move it here, and the same way, the same form did had, it's past simple was were plus verb 3. We use verb to be was at the beginning to form a question, and the verb 3 from had is had, and so that we finished changing the sentence from active into passive. The second one, it's a future. Will the police question all the suspects? Well, the same way we change a future. Well, be plus verb 3, we use well at the beginning. Well, all the suspects be good. Be what? Questioned. By, you can say, why not? Please. I will give you now enough time just to try the following sentences. Try, because I will answer them with you. Have you signed the house contract? Yeah. Have you signed the house contract? The object is contract and the verb is have signed, present perfect, and the subject is you. So has, because we have the contract, we will move it, then the contract is singular. Has the house contract been signed? Why? Because the contract here is singular and it's the object of the active sentence, and has been signed because we have a present perfect sentence. The second one, do people speak English in Spain? The object is English, yes, and the subject is people, and the verb is do speak, present simple. So it will be, is English spoken in Spain? Are you roasting chestnuts now? Are oh good, it's a present continuous, being roasted. You can say no if you want. Okay, sorry. Can you reach the top of the mountain, of this mountain? Can the top of this mountain be good, reached? The last one, was Jem playing the piano very loudly? Was the piano being played very loudly? And this is how do we change questions from active into passive. Okay, now the question is, if we have a WH question, what should we do? Now, if we have a WH question, we have to change it using the same way of yes or no a question like the following. I will give you an example here. For example, if I say where had, let's use the past perfect, they built the house. Now this is a WH question. We have the past perfect rule. How do we change it? We will use the WH word where at the beginning. Now the object is the house, the subject is they, and the tense is had built. Had built, we will change it into passive by using had, been, plus built. So where had, we have to use the helping verb after the WH word, where had the house, okay, been built. Another example here, if I say, just a minute, what are you no, not what are you, why has or why was she watching the match, for example. Now, how do we change it? Why was the match being watched? So, as you notice here, we use the same way of changing the passive form in questions and negatives, yes or no questions, WH questions, the same way, nothing will change. Now, the next thing I will talk about what if we have sentences and these sentences include two objects. Now, as you know, in English, we have some verbs, they take two objects, like here we have an example with send. We have give, we have wish. Like, look at this example. Mary sent me a funny email. Now, if you look at this example, you will notice that this example includes two objects. Mary is the subject, sent is the verb, and it's verb 2, and me is the first object, and we call it indirect object, and a funny email is the second object, and we call it the direct object. Now, what we have to do? Now, in this case, either an indirect object or a direct object may become the subject of a passive voice. How? You can change this sentence in two ways. Either to start with the indirect object, with me, or to start with the indirect object with a funny email like the following. If I choose to start with the indirect object with me, so the answer is I. So if we want to put me at the beginning of the sentence, we will not say me, we will say I, the subject pronoun. I. Now, sent the same way. Sent is verb 2. Verb 2 will change it by using was, were plus verb 3. I was sent, and then add the direct object, a funny email. Now, if you choose to start with the direct object at the beginning, so a funny email, and the verb, we will change it as the tense we have. Then don't forget to use to before the indirect object. So a funny email was sent to me. So if the direct object becomes the subject, use to before the indirect object, and you can change this sentence in two ways. Let's do this sentence for you as an example. The secretary gave Martin some letters. Here, as you notice, we have the secretary is the subject, gave is verb 2, Martin as the first object, it's the indirect object, some letters is the direct object, and it's object 2. Let's start with Martin, and we will say Martin. Okay, Martin, here the verb is gave, verb 2 was where plus verb 3. Martin was given some, the direct object now, letters. Okay, by the secretary if you want to add it. If we choose to start with the direct object, we will say some letters. Okay, where? Why where? Because here we have letters. Letters plural. In the first sentence, Martin is singular. Because of that, we have used was. Some letters were given to Martin. Yeah, think of the other one. Think of the next one, and I will answer it with you. Take your time. My friend has sent me an invitation. Take your time. Yes, here we have two objects. We have me and we have an invitation. If we start with the indirect object, so I has sent is present perfect. How do we change it? I have been sent an invitation. You have to add the other object. And if you start with an invitation, okay, the same way, has been sent to me. The next one, think about it. Mike is showing Laura some pictures. Here we have present continuous. Think about it. Yes, Laura. Yeah, with me. Answer with me. Laura, present continuous, is, are, am, being plus verb 3. Laura is being shown, some pictures, or let's start with some pictures, yes, are being shown to me. Okay, and you can say by Mike. The next one, here we have a future. Kevin will buy Jane a new car next week. Yes, two objects, Jane and a new car, and the form of the tense here is future. So, Jane will be bought a new car next week by Kevin, or a new car will be bought to Jane next week by Kevin. The second one is a question. Yeah, let's start. Will the college award Dan a scholarship? Think about it. I will give you your time. Will the college award Dan a scholarship? Don't forget, if you have a question, it's easy. The same way you change any statement, use it, but put the helping verb at the beginning, and don't forget to change the verb. So, well, the first object is Dan. Will, a word, or let's start with that. Will Dan be awarded a scholarship? Or, well, scholarship be awarded to them. Okay, any question? And the next one is a present simple. Try to do it. And here for you, I have these sentences. It includes statements, it includes negatives, questions, it includes 15 sentences. You have to change these sentences from active into passive. Now, I will give you your time just to try to change these sentences from active into passive, and then I will check the answers with you, inshallah. Now, this worksheet, I will download this worksheet for you, inshallah, just to keep it and try to answer the other question for you, just to remember the rules. Thank you so much, and inshallah I will meet you in another video. Thank you so much.